Hey everyone. As you know, Disciple Now is coming up February 8th, so just a couple weeks away, and obviously it's been on my mind a lot lately as we've been planning and things like that. And I figured there was two options. There was the option of call a all leadership meeting for those of you who are leading groups or host homes. We could call a meeting maybe sometime after church one Sunday, and not everybody would be here, and it would take an hour, and none of us would really want to be there. Or I could just do this, record a video with hopefully clearly communicating everything you need to know, send it through to an email. If there's any questions, you can just reply all, and we'll just communicate that way. And we'll save all ourselves some time. You can watch it on your convenience. So first I do want to say thank you to each of you, whether you are leading a group, hosting a home, some of you both, for just giving up a weekend to serve with Disciple Now. I know almost all of you work, and it's asking a lot with how just long of a weekend is and just how schedule packed it is. So really, seriously, thank you so much for making this event even possible. It's literally not possible without you. So I thank you for your partnership and for your care and your love for these students to give up a weekend and participate in this. I've attached in this email the schedule for the weekend. So I want to give you a minute, if it's possible here for you to maybe open up another tab or something where you can go in and open up that schedule, because what I want to do is I want to walk through it here for just a minute or two, and I think it'd be helpful if maybe you were looking at it while I was. So whether if you pull up on your phone or open it up in another tab, and I'll give you just a second to do that. We're doing things a little differently this year than we have in the past. We're partnering together with 4 other churches here in Cleburne to put on Disciple Now. They are Cleburne Bible, Friendship, Henderson Street, and Crossroads. And our hope is that we together collectively would have, we're estimating hopefully about 250 students or so at this thing. And our hope is that this would just be something that carries on year to year and grows and just does nothing but pick up momentum and get other churches on board. Really grateful for the just unity and friendships and relationships we have with other churches and that I have with other student ministers. So we're super looking forward to it. Prayed up, have a great speaker coming in named Garrett Rayburn from Watermark. Worship band named, what are they called? Alive by Sunrise. And then, of course, our leadership. So I think it'll be a phenomenal weekend. If you have the schedule pulled up by now, hopefully I stalled long enough. I wanted to go through it with you. So starting Friday, February 8th, we're going to kick off the weekend with a all-leadership meeting at 5 o'clock. I realize that 5 o'clock is hard for a lot of you to maybe be there, with probably being what time you get off work, but if you can be there, please do. If you can't be, just be there as close to that time as you can. That will take place at Cleburne Bible Church. We'll plan on having our speaker for the weekend talk to everybody, get everybody just kind of maybe fired up, I don't know, make sure we're all on the same page. That's going to take place at CBC. Right after that, at 6:30 is registration. That's going to take place at Cleburne Bible Church. If you're familiar with their facilities, as soon as you walk in the front door, they have a really large lobby that's also kind of their version of a fellowship hall. So tables will be set up there. We'll have a table for Field Street. So I'll need a couple there who would man our table to check kids in. You know, we may have some register last second. That usually happens. We'll also have a designated room that will be our place where they'll drop off bags. So really all of us there, either at the registration table, signing kids in, making sure they've paid, maybe they're just now registering, maybe getting some information to their parents who are dropping them off, that all that stuff that happened last year. And then a couple more of us showing them where to go to put their bags, make sure it all gets in the same place. That's going to take us up to 7:30 with worship. Pretty self-explanatory. It's going to take place in their sanctuary, except they're hip and they call it a multi-purpose room, but it's a sanctuary. At 7:30, we'll kick it off with, they're not really details that I'm not going to need to waste your time with, but rules, get everybody going for the weekend, worship band or worship speaker, things like that. After that, on Friday, you'll see 9:30 is what's called church time. If those of you have gone to camp before, y'all are familiar with kind of what this looks like. We all just had a really cool Jesus experience. Half the group is crying. We're all on spiritual highs, so we're going to go into a room and talk about it. But seriously, it's always a great time. But 9:30 church time. So we're in the same room that is our bag drop-off room is also going to be our church time room. So we're just kind of debrief the night, as well as just prepare the students and everybody for the next day, what that's going to look like. We'll also have the option to split into our small groups even that night if maybe we wanted to. That's something probably play by ear, but if we wanted to split into smaller groups because maybe decisions are being made or something like that, we could do that. At 10:30, we have scheduled to go home, so obviously rides are needed there. I won't be able to get the exact number of how many students are going to be in your group and in your homes until probably the day of, hopefully like Wednesday at the latest, but I will have a rough number and be pretty close the week before. So we'll figure out transportation and see exactly what we need. Didn't have any issues with it last year. I don't really foresee any issues there. 10:30 go home, and 11 o'clock small group time. Something else I included in this video is already the discussion questions for Friday night's small group time and Saturday night's small group time. They are a lot like what we do on Wednesday nights, where they are just discussion questions pulled from the message that they just heard from Garrett in this instance instead of me, but looking very similar to a Wednesday in that they hear the message and then go into small groups for very discussion-based questions off of that. Saturday, if you're looking at the schedule, 7:30 breakfast. Just like last year, I'm asking you host homes to provide breakfast. Doesn't have to be fancy. I mean, if you want to do it as cheap as possible, that's okay. Do it as cheap as you possibly can. I will provide for each home, just like I did last year, a tub that will have some snacks in it. It'll also have some paper goods in there, like paper plates, napkins, cups, so you don't have to use your own stuff. So hopefully I'll give you enough where you don't have to go buy it, but that should cover you there. So asking you to provide breakfast, 8 o'clock quiet time, they'll have a devotional to do, and then transition and get to Cleveland Bible at 9 o'clock, and for a 9:15, it's called Sunrise Celebration. It's just a morning worship time. That's just the name that they gave it. At 10 o'clock on Saturday morning, we'll transition here to Field Street, and y'all will be there. You leaders who will be around for most of the day. I'll share with you here in a second where you'll have a little bit of a break time, but you'll be around for most of the day, so your cars will be there. We'll also have plan to have our vans. Basically, I mean, I don't see any issues. I don't foresee any issues with it, but we'll transition to Field Street. Excuse me. Excuse me. Maybe I'll edit that out. Maybe I won't. But at 10:30, we'll have our breakout number 1 here at Field Street. It's going to take place in the children's building in different rooms. We're going to have four different breakouts led by the band and then a couple other people. Going to be doing things like missions, evangelism, apologetics, worship, things like that. And so every student's just going to choose one of those 4 to go to for breakout number 1. Breakout number 2, we're going to go into the sanctuary. This was a change we made. We're going to go into the sanctuary and we're going to do a student pastor panel. So each of us, I think there's 6 of us, are going to be on stage, and we're going to have students write questions down, have some kind of running system where people are bringing them up, putting them on the stage, and we're just going to draw them. We're just going to answer questions. That was an idea somebody had, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. So that'll be breakout 2 in the sanctuary. Right after that, we'll go to lunch, which will still be here in the gym. And after lunch, we will communicate. We'll probably stay in the gym to do this, but communicate with everybody what the service project is going to look like, which I don't know yet. That is being taken care of by the outreach pastor of Cleveland Bible Church, putting together multiple projects for such a big group. So I don't know what it is yet, but it's going to be something involving service. So rides will be needed there. It's probably going to be a few different groups together. Of course, I say that. I really don't even know, but I'll let you know as soon as I know. So rides are going to be needed there. After the service project, we have allowed a little bit of time, an hour and a half or so of just a break where everybody's allowed to go to their host homes, shower, just chill for a minute. I mean, as most of you know, Disciple Now Saturdays are they're long days. They're long days. So just a little bit of time to shower, maybe grab something to eat real quick, just a snack, just sit on the couch and just kind of chill for a minute. They'll then come back to Field Street because the gym's already going to be set up. We're going to do dinner here and then transition over to Cleveland Bible. The reason we're going back and forth is because we wanted to use both facilities. It just made more sense. The reason we're going back over there for worship is because that's where all the band stuff is set up, and it would just be a nightmare to have all the band stuff there in their sanctuary or multi-purpose room, and then transfer it over to ours, and then it would just be stupid. So we're going to transition from Field Street after having dinner at 5:30 over there for worship at 6:30. Much like Friday night, right after that, we'll have church group time, look the same. Again, play it by ear. If we want to go into small groups, there'd be one big group, but very similar to Friday night. And after that, we will have it says on the schedule, Princeton concert. That's a rapper who I've never heard of, but he will be with us that weekend, and he's going to do a concert that night. Once he's done, we'll go home and have our final small group discussion there. But maybe, again, this will maybe be something, will probably be something we play by ear, but maybe we'll do our small group times there at 8:30, right after worship, and then they just go home, and then we've already done it, and then we don't have to do it at almost midnight. So maybe that's a call you would want to make as your small group leader, or if two of you are co-leading, maybe that's a conversation you want to have. Certainly open to it. We'll just talk about that when it gets closer, I guess. Sunday, so the schedule says church dependent, but we're going to do what we did last year, and I know a lot of you weren't part of it. So what that's going to look like is breakfast at the homes again. So asking you host homes to provide breakfast Saturday morning and Sunday morning. Again, do it as cheap as you want. Do it as elaborate as you want. I don't care. Then we're going to come up to the third floor. I believe last year we came up here about 10 o'clock last year, so just a little bit after regular Sunday school time. And we just did a little bit of a rap sesh. I showed the highlight video, had pictures scrolling, and then I just allowed whoever wanted to share something about the weekend. And then we went to service together, late service together at 11 o'clock. So that is the schedule. Ride times, again, I got students signing up now, but the vast majority of them will do the week of. They will do the Wednesday before, which is February 6th, and they will do the day before, and they will do the day of. And that's just how it is, and that's just how it's going to be. So I won't be able to have the exact number of students in your group or in your home, but I will be able to have a rough estimate. We have 6th grade girls led by Crystal at the Friesens, 6th grade guys led by Rick at the Deems, middle school girls with Christy and Betsy at the Rains, 7th and 8th grade guys with Jason and Chad. That house is to be determined. 9th through 11th grade guys is with Chris and Nathan at the Jacksons. 9th grade girls are with Maitland at the Howingtons. 10th through 11th grade girls are with Gina at the Melsons, and seniors are at the Martins home, which I'm really encouraging them to kind of be a student-led discussion, but certainly want you, Chris and Don, to be a part of that as well. The reason we're using you guys, I decided to use you guys and not bring in people, which is kind of the typical way to do it. What we did last year is I thought, you know what, why? We can just use our regular small group leaders, our regular volunteers who these kids already know and have relationships with and trust. So I thought, and they're faithful, and so I thought, why don't we just use them? I'm trying to think of anything else I have for you. Like I said, I'll be getting the list out. I'll be getting lists out of students. I can get you a list of exact students if you want it, but at least a number as soon as I have an idea of what it's going to be. And if you will, just reply all here to this email so everybody can see your question. If you have any questions, really all I did was go over the schedule, so I'm sure there's probably something that you're thinking or some kind of concern that you have. We're continuing to meet today, actually. This is Tuesday. And next week, and I guess the next week, or no, maybe just this week and next week, putting the final details on it to just polish this off and make sure it's fully ready. Wednesday, February 6th, I will say, we are doing a Disciple Now kickoff where all of these churches will be together here at Field Street in the sanctuary. We're going to have our normal 6 to 8 time slot, but from 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock, we're going to be up here having our normal meal and just fellowship time, not doing anything, just us. And at 7 o'clock, we're going to go down to the sanctuary. Everybody else will be here, and we're going to have a student-led worship night of testimonies, very similar to what we did at Hewlin Park. If you were a part of that, student-led worship, sharing testimonies about Disciple Now and the impact it's had on them. and so on. So that'll be a great night. It'll be a night a little different for us for a Wednesday, but to get us ready to kick off that Friday. So again, if you have any questions, please do reply all. If it's specific and maybe it's not pertaining to anybody else, you can reply just to me, or you can text me or whatever. But again, very thankful for you guys. Super excited for this weekend. Be praying with me that this would be just the best one ever, that God would just be pleased with our efforts to put on such an event that would just glorify Jesus and see students saved and see many a part of this thing, and that it would only grow from here. So grateful for each of you, and goodbye.